Hello students, welcome to JCE Connect. So we are starting with module 5. So incineration, 3 T's of incineration, that is time, turbulence and temperature. Then factors affecting incineration, types of incinerators, then pyrolysis and design criteria for incineration has been covered. Today we will discuss with the energy recovery techniques from solid waste management. So in this chapter we are going to discuss how the energy can be produced from the solid waste that is a part of solid waste management. So energy recovery techniques from solid waste management. So first we'll understand what is the meaning of recovery. Okay, so recovery means the process to recover useful materials from the mixed waste. So whenever a waste is produced or whenever it has been collected, it will be mixed. Okay, it will be mixed with different types of waste. So the process to recover the useful material from the mixed waste is called as the recovery of the material. Then the material recovery facility are specialized plants that receives, separates and prepares recyclable materials for making to end user manufacturers. So that is called the recovery facility. So wherein the material, the waste is received, then it is separated, then it is prepared for recyclable materials for marketing to the end user manufacturers. So it is made ready for marketing for the end user manufacturers. That is called as the recovery, material recovery. Then what is mean by energy recovery? So here the process of releasing the energy which is stored in the waste so that it can be utilized either directly or indirectly to generate either heat or electricity or biofuels. So whatever material we call it as a waste, so from that waste we can generate the energy. So the process of releasing the energy which is stored in the waste so that it can be utilized either directly or indirectly to generate the heat and the electricity or biofuels. So that is called as the energy recovery. So we can recover the energy either by generating the heat, the electricity or the biofuels. So that is called as the energy recovery. So the energy recovery is the process by which the solid waste is converted into some renewable energy source. So that is called as the energy recovery. So how it is achieved? So the energy recovery, to understand this concept, first we need to understand the 3 R's of the solid waste management system. So the 3 R's are reduce, reuse and recycle. These are the 3 R's which are practiced in the solid waste management system. So this concept, that is the concept of 3 R, that is reduce, reuse and recycle, this concept is a sequence of steps on how to manage the waste properly. So the topmost priority is given to reduce, that is nothing but the reduction of the waste generation or reduction in the generation of the waste. Then comes your reuse, that is how it can be reused, and finally recycle, how we can recycle from the waste which is produced. So to give the waste material a second chance before disposing them to the landfill. So that is nothing but the 3 R's, that is reduce, recycle and reuse. So these are the 3 R's of energy recovery techniques from solid waste management. Now let us understand the 3 R's in detail. That is, first one is reduce. What is the meaning of reduce? So reduce waste generation from the start by bringing your own shopping bags, using products that can be used repeatedly, and so on. So you can stop the or you can reduce the generation of the waste from so many day-to-day activities. One example here given is you're bringing your own bags for shopping, using the products that can be used repeatedly, and so on. Then what is meaning of reuse? Reuse materials that can and are safe to be reused, means the materials which can be reused and that are safe to reuse. Such materials we have to use again and again, so it is called as the reuse. So one of them is by making handicraft or through the upcycling process. So that is reuse. You can reuse the material again and again. Then recycle. What is the meaning of recycle? Is recycling waste by either melting or chopping to be reformed into new products that most likely to experience a decline in the quality. So recycling of the waste either is achieved by melting, or by you can go for chopping or shredding, and so that you can reform the waste into some new product that must be likely to experience a decline in the quality. So that is for we go for recycling of the waste. Now let us understand in detail what is the meaning of reduce. So the concept of reducing what is produced and what is consumed is essential to the waste hierarchy. So the logic behind it is simple to understand. If there is less waste, then there is less to recycle or reuse. So that is the very basic or important R, that is reduce. The first R is reduce. So if you reduce the production of the waste itself, then ultimately there is less to recycle or reuse. So it again these 3 R's depends upon the quantity of the waste generated. So this concept of reducing what is produced and what is consumed, that is essential to the waste hierarchy. So the logic behind it is very simple to understand. If there is less waste, then there is less to recycle or reuse. So this concept of reduce. Okay, so here are some things that you can practice, or you can do it to reduce the waste. So a few examples are given here so that you can reduce the production of the waste. So the first one is print on both sides of the papers to reduce the paper wastage. So you can print the whatever matter on both sides of the paper, so that you can reduce the wastage of the papers. Then one more example is use electronic mail, that is your email, to reach out the people instead of sending a paper mail. So in this lockdown, at least we have adopted the technology so much that there is much more reduction in the use of paper we can observe, right? If we would have been in college, okay, we would have taken so many xeroxes, so many printouts, but because of this internet facility, maximum of us, we are using all the digital means of sharing the documents through either emails or your WhatsApp. Okay, so here you can follow such electronic mails or emails to reach out the people instead of sending the paper mail. Okay, so use of cloth napkin instead of paper napkins. So paper napkin, if it is used, you have to throw it, that becomes the paper waste. But if you use the cloth napkin, you can reuse it again and again by washing. Okay, so you have to use the cloth napkins instead of the paper napkins, that is your tissue papers. Then avoid using disposable plates, spoons, glass, cups and napkins. So they add to the problem and result in the large amount of the waste. So wherever we go out, or whenever we arrange any function or a small party, then we usually go for using disposable plates, right? Or disposable spoons, glass, cups, napkins. So what happens at the end? The production of the waste will be more. All these are use and throw materials. So how many use and throw materials you use, that much of the waste, more amount of waste is generated. So we should avoid such use of use and throw materials. Instead, you can use the other utensils so that you can wash and reuse them. Then one more example is avoid buying items that are over packaged with foil, paper and plastic. The excess packaging goes to waste. So we should avoid buying such products wherein there is a over packaging is done with the help of foil, paper or plastic. So we have to avoid buying such items, because that all packaging goes again as a waste. Then buy durable goods that have long warranty. So always we should practice of buying the durable goods that have long warranty. So they generally run longer and save the landfill space, or the purchasing second hand items. So you can go for either the purchasing of the goods that have a long warranty, or you can either go for purchasing second hand items. So by doing this thing, what we can reduce is we can reduce the space which is required to dispose the waste in landfills. So that is the ultimate aim. So these are the few examples or few things which we can practice in our day-to-day life to reduce the waste at the source. Next is reuse. So the direct use or reuse of a secondary material without prior reclamation, that is called as the reuse. So reuse is using again and again the same product. So what is the meaning of reclamation here? So regeneration of the waste or recovery of the usable material from the waste, that is called as reclamation. The wastes are regenerated when they are processed to remove the contaminants in a way that restores them to their usable condition. Materials that must be reclaimed or recycled prior to the use or reuse. So this is the reuse. So before throwing something in the garbage, it helps to think about how that item might be reused. So this you should have a practice or habit in your day-to-day life, so that before throwing any item as a garbage or into a dustbin, we should think about how that item might be reused, how we can reuse the particular item which we are throwing into the dustbin as a waste. So it might be reused for the same purpose, or it might be used in a different way. So it depends upon again what type of material and how we can reuse it. So for example, newspaper. So newspaper can be used as wrapping paper or cushioning for packaged items. So you can either use the newspaper for as a wrapping paper or as a cushioning for packaging or packaged items. So by doing this, what we achieve is save and reuse the scrap paper for writing notes, and always try to write on both sides of the paper. So this is one more way of reuse. Okay, then use refillable containers like your Tupperware or reusable mugs and rechargeable batteries. So we should have a practice of using rechargeable batteries, so that again and again we can use them. Instead of once it is used, we should not throw it. If it is rechargeable, we can recharge and use the battery again and again. Then reuse grocery bags or bring your own cloth bags to the store, so that you can avoid taking the carry bags or plastic bags. Okay, do not take a bag from the store unless you need one. So use the resealable containers rather than plastic wraps. And the last point is wash and reuse the plastic food storage bags and heavy aluminium. So aluminium foil and all, whatever we use, that you can reuse. Wash and reuse the material, or plastic, reuse the plastic. So, and one more way of reusing is, if you don't want any clothes or any material, then you can donate it. Okay, donate to either charities, or you can sell it as a second-hand clothing stores. Okay, so this is how we can achieve the second R, that is reuse. Then the last R, that is recycle. So recycling of the waste by melting or chopping to be reformed into new product that most likely to experience a decline in the quality. So when we recycle any material, we give that material a new life and save it from going to the landfill. So whenever we recycle or reuse, what we do ultimately is we stop or we save it from going to the landfill. Otherwise it would have been thrown as a waste, and it will reach the landfill as a waste for dumping. But instead, if we recycle the waste, we can avoid that. Okay, so what materials that can be recyclable or recycled? So aluminum cans, building materials, cardboards, electronic equipment, glass, that is bottles and jars, then magazines, metals, newspapers, yard waste, oil, paper, plastic bags, plastic bottles, steel cans, tires, white goods like your appliances, your fridge, refrigerators, your big items like sofa and all, that is called as white goods. Or even it includes wood, writing or copy paper, so that all these materials can be recycled and reused. Next, we'll discuss what are the advantages of recycling. So first advantage is it prevents the emission of many greenhouse gases and water pollutants. Okay, so instead of throwing it in a either in a incineration plant, or either it will be dumped in a landfill. So if you avoid these two options or any other option of disposing the waste, so by doing so, what we can achieve is we can prevent the emission of many greenhouse gases which are formed after these any of the technique, and even we can save the water from getting polluted. Then it saves the energy, right? Then it supplies the valuable raw materials to the industry, so that we can recycle the materials again and again. So it will provide the valuable raw material to the industry for recycling the product from the waste. Then it creates jobs. Then it stimulates the development of the greener technology, right? That is a very new concept which is coming up nowadays. Green technology, green building, wherever we are talking about the new things, we are always trying to be greener. Okay, green technology. So if you practice recycling, you can stimulate the development of greener technology. Then conserves the resources for future, right? If you recycle the material from the waste, then you can conserve the resources for future and reduces the need for new landfill and combustion. That is, if your waste production is more, if you are not practicing recycling or reuse, then what will happen? The need for new landfill will increase, because you need more amount of area to dump the more amount of waste. Or either if you are practicing the burning, that is combustion, that is either incinerators or pyrolysis. So this will increase if you do not practice the recycling of the waste. So these are the 3 R's of solid waste management, which forms the backbone of solid waste management, that is reduce, reuse and recycle.